Hey guys, hey, if you see grease fittings on an old snowblower that look like this, where they're painted over, it looks like they've never been used before, you gotta clean them. You gotta clean the fittings to make sure they work. If you put a grease gun on and you try and pump it, you're gonna blow up the grease gun, your cartridge, it's gonna blow out, all right? Anytime you see a grease fitting like that with paint all in it, it's never been greased before. Take an awl or something sharp, pierce it through, make sure it works. All right, and make sure you can get grease in there because you'll blow up your grease gun. It'll be solid. It just won't work properly. So just a tip: this auger's never been greased, and the paint's still on it. There's no evidence of grease ever being in it. I tried greasing it. I go to pump it, and the damn tube blew right out because it's solid. It's solid in there. It's all solid up. So I have to free up these grease fittings and then get them to work. But just a reminder, guys: you see them painted like that, don't just hook up a grease fitting. Even with a lock line on there, to lock it on there, blew it right up. So let me unclog these things and get it greased. All right, guys, when you have stuck grease fittings, you use a grease joint rejuvenator tool. Basically what it is, it's a tool that has a piston with an O-ring on top. You fill the tube up with a penetrant. I use Croil. I think Croil's the best. It's expensive, but it's the best. And what you're doing is you're using this with a hammer, forcing thousands of PSI of pressure into this, through into the fitting to free it up. So let me fill it up with some Croil. All right. Oh, it's leaking out the other end. Let me fill it up. I'll put my finger over the end of it. It has a check ball in there, so it shouldn't be doing that. All right, I fill it up with some Croil. I put the piston in. You tilt, oh, yeah, a little bit of pressure in there. You bleed it, you push it with it upside down, so you get the air out until just fluid comes out. And right now, until just fluid comes out. Right about there. Okay, just fluid's coming out. All right, let's go over to the fitting. All right, I bled all the air out of it. All right, I'm gonna put the thing on there. This one is jammed. Stick it on. I'm going to tap on it until it goes free. And there we go. And you can see the Croil shooting all over the place down there. So now you know it's free. Let's confirm that the grease fitting is free. Let's see if we get, yep. You see right here, watch when I pump that fitting. It's coming out. There you go. Now those fittings are free. I'm going to do it to the other two, but the grease rejuvenator tool, the grease fitting rejuvenator tool, it's great. It puts thousands of PSI in there. It frees up solid grease fittings. If you have them caked on and stuff like that, you can heat them up, loosen up the grease that's in there, use the rejuvenator tool, bam. That's going to push all that crap out and get you nice and greased. All right, we'll talk to you later on, guys. See ya. Well, the grease rejuvenator worked. Grease fitting rejuvenator. All right, basically what you're doing is you're forcing the liquid in to get to the grease fitting. Now if you look, when I pump grease in, it's coming out. Okay, so it's clear. But I have to do that to all the other three grease fittings, the other three, because with the paint in them never being used, you're going to blow up your grease gun. You're going to start pumping your grease gun and your cartridge is going to blow right out because it's all back pressure in there. So I'm not saying you have to buy a grease fitting rejuvenator, but you know what? It helped me. And where I learned this from, every one of my buddies that's in the ag industry or uses farm equipment has one of these, because when you have old grease fittings, they do get clogged up, they do get rusted up, they do get painted over. You need one of these things to inject fluid in there to free up that fitting. So I'll put the link in the description to get one of these grease fitting rejuvenators. I love it, and it's a great tool. So I'll show you the box real quick. Again, It's by a company called IPA, Grease Joint Rejuvenator. It comes with instructions. It comes with an extra fitting and a hose if you have to go in at a weird angle. But I use Croil. I like using Croil. It's expensive, but I think it's the best penetrating liquid. And you fill up this thing. It acts like a piston. It gives you an extra O-ring on the end if the other one wears out. And you're injecting liquid under high pressure through that grease fitting and into the assembly. So, all right, guys, that's it for now. We'll talk to you soon. All right, so the Grease Rejuvenator did its job. You can see the areas where I squirted the 4 fittings, and you can see now the grease is coming out all over the auger. This thing's never been greased. Never been greased. I checked the double O grease inside, or the oil inside this gearbox, and that's fine. But now the auger's greased, it's gonna run great. But Grease Joint Rejuvenator, I'll put the link in the description. If you have old equipment with grease fittings that are clogged up, has even like front spindles on a tractor. If you're trying to put your grease gun on it and it's not doing anything, it's like jammed up and it's not accepting grease, Grease Joint Rejuvenator, guys. It's not cheap, but to me, it's a great investment. All right, guys, we'll talk to you soon.